Hello, welcome to the Optimal Health podcast. This is the key podcast to listen to if you're looking for some motivation, inspiration, and a little bit of positivity in your life and your career. My name is Tina Khanam, your host. I am a consultant ophthalmic surgeon, and today's title is Surgeons Embracing Artificial Intelligence. We have a very special guest with us for season 2, episode 1. Roger Zaldivar from Zaldivar Institute. He's the CEO and the founder. He's also set up ICL Guru. And we welcome you to the podcast, Roger. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tina. It's a great pleasure to spend some time talking about this exciting very topic that everyone should be digging and trying to understand more and more because it's truly going to make the difference.
Exactly. For our patients, better for our patients. Now,
Absolutely.
as all our podcasts, we always ask our guests to start with a pivotal story or a story or event that made a difference to you in your journey as an innovator and embracer of artificial intelligence. Would you like to share that with us?
Absolutely, Tina. So my journey started many years ago. I'm just to clarify, I'm not a guy developing AI, but I have a great team that is always behind the scenes working tight with me and really working on the models. But I do understand everything and I perfectly know the potential of it. So we are basically very involved on each development. But having said this, my story started many years ago. Let's say 2011, I think. Yeah, it was 2011, and it was with a device called Optical Quality Analysis System. It was called OCAS. It
Yeah.
was a device meant to analyze the optical quality of the human eye
Mm-hmm.
with a double pass system. It was like an advanced aberrometer that included
Yeah.
light scatter.
Yeah.
So in those days, and this was an invention of Professor Artal from Murcia, that is very well known.
Mm-hmm.
In those days, I started working on this device a lot, and it was part of my thesis in Arizona, in the University of Arizona. I
Yeah.
was really obsessed with the potential of understanding more and more about the optical quality
Yeah.
of a patient,
Yeah.
not only to diagnose, but even to propose, to set up as expectations. It
Yeah.
was very important. The more you understand for a patient,
Yeah.
the more suitable you are going to be able to align with expectations,
Yes.
find outcomes, and it's very important. So what I did in those days with my team, we started working dynamically in the quality of vision
Mm-hmm.
and apply the machine learning model
Yeah.
on this quality and in this retinal image,
Yeah.
and we established different patterns to analyze the tear film. So this was the first attempt
Yeah.
with AI
Yeah.
in the world to define the quality of tear film in the human eye. And it was applied by the company, and it was very successful for many years. There are still many equipment in the world
Yeah.
with our software. And that was my first attempt. It was really impressive because we have a very large data set of more than 500 patients with
Yeah.
very specific tear film patterns. And
Yeah.
we were able to identify them, to organize the algorithm, and it was very nice. It was like a traffic light.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was the first attempt.
Yeah, amazing. And then how did that lead you on to your work with ICL Guru?
So we started with that journey, and I realized that we were able to develop high value things for
Mhm.
the world from my lab.
Yeah,
And we started gathering a lot of data on ICL that we have always been very active with my father, of course, that he started implanting ICLs more than 30 years ago.
yeah,
He was a true pioneer in the field, and he's still very involved. So we have the data.
yeah,
Always the limitation is data, always.
yeah.
So in this case, we have very organized data in my clinic,
Mhm.
and we have a lot of images, we have a lot of UVMs, and we realized that UVM was amazing. But when things were right, the problem was that there was a lot of lack of standardization of
Yeah,
the dynamics of a UVM.
yeah,
So the challenge was how do we do this more stable, more less technician dependent, that more reproducible, to be able to reproduce it easier, more
Yeah,
scalable. So in that way, I started working with my team. That we have a team of five engineers from the university
yeah,
that we have been working many years, and we align on different projects. And this was definitely one of an important project. And we started doing image recognition, and see if there were some eye configurations that were at some point delivering different results than others. And
yeah.
then we started training a model, and we started gathering very interesting results. Then we keep improving, feeding with more information,
Mhm.
and with the results, obtain results. And long story short, we are now in the seventh or eighth version of that initial attempt,
Wow,
and results are better than ever.
amazing. So just
Oh, sorry.
bless
I
you. No,
was going.
no, that's fine. Bless you. Just for our listeners, so UBM is the ultrasound by microscopy,
Yeah.
and the machine is about this height, and you hold it over the eye, and then you.
Yes, it's UVM is something. UVM is basically using ultrasound in
Yeah,
the anterior chamber
yeah,
of the eye in a very specific way, using from around 35 hertz. But the beauty of it is that is the only way to have a full representation of the eye, of the anterior anatomy of the eye,
yeah,
not only till the iris. That most of the time the images, for example, of OCT, of tomography, you cannot see it. You can see it. It's behind the iris. That is
yeah,
where the magic happens, because honestly, the ICL is going to be sitting behind the iris. So we need to understand what's happening there. We
yeah,
need to understand if there is a cyst, if there is a weird configuration. So
yeah,
the better we can define that, the more suitable we'll be able to predict where the ICL is going to sit and
yeah,
what is going to be the final distance from the lens to the crystalline lens. That has been mainly the only real limitation of this wonderful technique of ICL.
yeah, exactly. And even now, the literature report that just under half end up behind the sulcus. It can end up anywhere, isn't it? The haptics.
Exactly. So it's that's exactly what we're doing. So we know today that the position, the final position of the ICL
Yeah,
is not going to where we thought it was going. It can go to different locations. Most of the times it goes to a position in the ciliary body, and in the process is
yeah,
behind the sulcus. So
yeah,
the better we can predict this due to different eye configurations that today we can,
yeah,
because that's what we are doing basically in most of the times,
yeah,
the better shape we're going to be in order to keep improving this predictability. The
yeah.
beauty of this is that the surgery is very forgiving, as you have been listening all over and over again in the UK user meeting.
Exactly.
The,
That's why we
the
were talking about.
ICL is very forgiving.
Yeah,
The design is amazing. The
yeah,
column and the material is unique. It's one of a kind.
yeah,
But if we can be more precise
yeah,
and truly more predictive in our attempts to forecast this final distance,
yeah.
the more confidence we will gather to take this decision over and over again, and to become more and more excited on the technology. If we
Exactly.
have if we have one outlier and
Yeah,
we're uncomfortable with the results, and then we have another outlier,
yeah.
our our confidence gets mitigated. So
Exactly.
we need to build trust through predictability and through outcomes that we can control. And that's the beauty of Guru. That's why it has been so successful, and most of the UVMs are implementing this algorithm.
Excellent. Yeah, we were talking about this in the user meeting, as you say, more and more consultants wants to take up ICL, and the little bit of uncertainty about where it lands, how to size, all reduces the confidence. So hopefully this ICL guru will help more and more consultants take this up in the future. Yeah.
Absolutely, hopefully.
So in your journey of building this wonderful tool for surgeons to use, what has been your biggest failure, or what has been your biggest downfall, would you say?
So it's always each project is a roller coaster. You if you don't face difficulties is very weird that you are doing something important or that's going to make a substantial change. So
Exactly.
specifically in Guru, we have been learning in every single iteration.
Yeah.
So one important iteration that we experienced was at some point we were having big outliers
Yeah.
in a couple of months ago in one iteration, and the model was reading perfectly, but the problem was that the UVM wasn't gathering the exact data it was supposed to because the images were off center. So
Uh-huh.
we were very frustrated with the results, but we were able to react very quickly
Yeah.
and correct this lack of centration of the UVM, and we could fix it with software, which is very good. So we
Ex-
realized that we were measuring
yeah.
in the eye, but not in a perfectly centrical way.
Yeah.
It was slightly in the periphery, and the entire configuration changes the more periphery you go. But the device and the software was telling us that we were centered. So we fixed that,
Yeah.
and that's where the magic start happening because now our results are very, very consistent. But again, if our reading had been that the algorithm was bad, we
Yeah.
would have changed everything. It wasn't the algorithm, it was the food that we were providing. So
Oh,
that's the most important thing is be open and very active in understanding where are the difficulties
yeah.
uh, before jumping and touching and destroying things that you have built.
Yeah.
Is the diagnostic as doctors is very important here is understand what is it exactly that is failing
Yeah.
and just enhance that.
Yeah. And the other thing I picked up on is the training, how to use it. Would you say that's another barrier to people using ICL?
Yeah, the good news is that the UVM is now easier than before. Has
Okay.
nothing to do because it used to be, as I said before, very technician dependent.
Yeah.
Because, as you said, it's an image that is dynamic and the more centered.
Yeah.
Today we have developed so much software
Yeah.
that basically software uh, is improving all the weaknesses that we have
Okay.
related to this. So first of all, centration, alignment.
Yeah.
Alignment is absolutely critical.
Hmm.
Centration, depth, everything you have a hallmark or a red light telling you if you
Yeah.
are okay, if you have green. So software is empowering the precision of something that has been always been very weak. But this software that has allowed to get us to this point.
Excellent. Excellent. And in that journey, would you say you've had some conflict, and how did you go about resolving conflict? Because you are working in a team of people with different priorities and different agendas.
Yeah, it's this journey has been basically natural because we have been solving our own problems.
Yeah.
When we realized that smaller eyes or eyes of patients that were more complicated, so redesign, we make them design a smaller cup.
Uh-huh.
Each each difficulty has been we were able to solve it or to help them to help these great companies like Sonomed
Yeah.
being able to overcome the difficulties that each development has. The most important thing is always collaboration between uh, technicians, pioneers,
Mm-hmm.
doctors,
Yeah.
inventors, and companies.
Yeah.
Whenever you have active and positive and constructive feedback,
Yeah.
magic happens. Every development goes faster and faster.
Excellent, excellent. So now on to talking about, we've talked about ICL Guru and your work with that. Would you say that's your proudest achievement to date, or do you have other things to share with me?
Yeah, I'm the founder. I'm not sure if you are aware, but I'm the founder of a data company called
Yeah,
Revi Care, that
yeah,
is based is the company that is hosting ICL Guru, is
yeah.
hosting ICL Guru in a very safe ecosystem of digital health solutions. And
Excellent.
Revi Care is definitely going to be the oil that we're going basically consume in the next couple of years in order to empower our decisions. We are
Yes.
collecting massive amount of very accurate data,
Yeah.
and we are working on different algorithms to predict better patient selection in terms of IOLs,
Yeah.
to forecast bad performance, good, great performance,
Yeah.
patient-reported outcomes. So we have all the data in a very organized way, and is what is allowing us to keep improving different apps. Besides, of course, there are other options inside. We have business intelligence.
Yeah.
We have all the tools that the clinic needs, but it's very focused on data generation.
Amazing, amazing. So
Yeah.
obviously that requires a team. You talked about the team before, and how do you have the same kind of ethos in your team? How do you motivate them? What are the strategies that help
Well, Revive has a 30 people team fully allocated to software creation and of course the commercialization. But
you?
but yeah, I have a partner that is full time working there,
Yeah. Hmm.
and yeah, it's all about building the teams with the right people and
Yeah.
aligning in a very clear objective, a clear vision, trying to disrupt, and at the end, the most important thing and is what anyone in this field gets touched and excited is being able to do something that reaches a patient's life
Yeah.
and in a positive way. The
Yeah.
good news is that what most of the times what we do
Yeah.
is very tangible in terms of results. We are able to do things that affect directly the life of a lot of people, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So having the patient in the forecast in the forefront helps your motivation and the team.
Exactly. Exactly. There are many startups or different initiatives that you don't get such a direct exposure to someone that you can tell that you are doing something great.
Yeah.
So it's
Amazing.
always very motivating. Yeah.
And in terms of just thinking back to your younger self, so say
Yeah.
when you're starting out, what kind of advice would you have given if you had to give top three advice for someone who's starting out or someone
Yeah. It's
inventor?
I I've been very related to everything in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
and I gotta tell you that it's it's more difficult that whatever someone what people most of the times project. They kind of say, oh, I want to innovate and blah 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 and create my own company.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work,
It,
a lot of sacrifice,
yeah.
a lot of frustration many times and headaches,
Yeah.
but at the end it's worth it because even when you fail you are learning, but you
Yeah.
have to take it like this. It's a path. It's not just a destination. It's
Yeah.
it's it's
The journey.
basi- it's a journey.
Yeah.
100% here more than ever.
Yeah.
Sorry, I told you I have my
That's okay. You're doing well. So in terms of
but again, the other important advice that I would like to do is to
oh,
say one, sorry, is that besides preparing the younger people to be able to have frustration, that is something that newer generations are not so well prepared.
yeah,
uh,
that's
in
you're right.
this crystal generation.
Yeah.
Uh,
Very fragile generation, yes.
and yeah, you need to be prepared because sometimes it's a wall, another wall, and you need to survive, and then perhaps you get the sweet spot.
Yeah.
But the other important thing is to prepare yourself with other tools.
Hmm.
And it's not just studying medicine itself. Now you have all the possibilities to get
Yeah.
basic science, computation,
Yeah.
AI,
That's true.
learn about patents.
Yeah.
The more you can gather, the better position you're going to be able to
Yeah.
negotiate a contract.
Yeah.
There are many other things that as a doctors we are not prepared to.
That's
And
true.
now it's great because we have other people willing to help on here. There are different programs in the world dedicated to doctors
Yeah,
and to train doctors on all in many of these fields, at least to understand what they need to they need to know.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, more equipped you are, the better it is for your own future as well as helping the patient that you want to help. Excellent.
Exactly.
Thank you
Good.
so much for taking the time out to talk to us. I know you're not feeling very well, so thank you for soldiering on with that. And yeah, I've learned so much from ICL Guru, and we've been talking about it last week in our user meeting, and we'll be talking about it this year in our UK Chris meeting. So well done. That's amazing work, Roger. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Tina. And it was a great pleasure. And we will keep talking about this in the future, hopefully.
Of course, yes. We'll see you then. Thank you very much,
Thank
Roger.
you.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye. Take care.